Hi everyone, so I am back from the vets with a very special package. So the vets actually asked if I could take this little guy home and look after it. Basically, it's another hedgehog. So because we've been doing quite a lot of hedgehog rehab recently, and they contacted the local rescue for hedgehogs, and they're actually full, they're at capacity at 82 hedgehogs. And because there's nothing actually really wrong with this guy other than he's underweight and is too small to hibernate, they basically asked if I could look after him, feed him up until he's up to weight for hibernation. I'm saying he, I'm not actually sure if this is a girl or a boy, but as you can see, when I sort of flip him upside down, basically hedgehogs should be a nice round shape, and when I flip this one upside down and get him to curl up in a ball, you can see that he's more sort of oval, a bit egg shaped. So that shows that he is underweight, and hedgehogs do need to be a certain weight before they go into hibernation, and this guy is just too small. So I'm going to set him up the way I do with my soft releases when I do releases for this hedgehog rescue, which basically involves setting up a pen outdoors, and this is really important to help them to acclimatise. They sort of get used to the temperature and snuffling around and finding their own food. So I've got it in a very safe spot in the garden, which is kind of sheltered. It's behind a big shed, so it's fairly windproof. It's got trees hanging over, so it's quite well sheltered and enclosed, but it's still outside. So there's not a lot of grass, it's mostly sort of mulch and leaves, which is kind of an environment that hedgehogs like anyway, and it means he can snuffle around, start to kind of hunt, find his own food, but I will also, of course, be giving him some water and providing him with some food so we can fatten him up. So for these guys, you can feed them dog or cat food. You can't actually feed them milk, which used to be a common misconception. Everyone would leave out a dish of milk for hedgehogs, but actually a better thing to use. You can buy special hedgehog food, but dog food or cat food works fine. They can eat both wet and dry food. They can sort of crunch up dry food, but from my experience of my hedgehog rescues, they do prefer wet food. So this will be the 11th hedgehog that we've actually had with us. So we have got a good general idea of how to care for them and how to prepare them for release. So this will be a soft release. So once he's up to weight and kind of adjusted well to being out and about, then I will leave the pen door open and then carry on leaving down food until he doesn't come back, basically. So it's a good way of them. So you can open the door, they can go out, they can start exploring, but they've always got that option of coming back for food and water if they want to, or they can't find their own, or they're starting to struggle and they'd like a safe place to stay. So I try and keep it as simple as possible because we're trying to acclimatise them to being in the wild. We're not trying to, give them loads of cool stuff to do and give them tunnels and all that sort of thing. We want it to be as natural as possible. So I just use a animal carrier with some shredded newspaper inside, so they've got a bed. And then what I actually do is wrap a bin bag around the carrier just to keep the water out and to keep their bedding dry. Obviously, I'd make sure I wrap it around really tightly so they can't get between the plastic and the carrier, because that would be quite dangerous. They could get stuck in there. But it's just to keep some of the rain off. I was going to build them a proper shelter, but again, we don't want to make things too nice and cushy for them. But this is just what I do. It's very simple and it's worked well so far. So yeah, I thought I'd let you know that I have another hedgehog in my care, and basically we're just going to be keeping an eye on him, weighing him every day, feeding him, and then when he's up to weight, releasing him. So this is something that I really enjoy doing. It's something that I feel like I'm helping wildlife, and it's something I also feel like I'm helping out my local wildlife rescues as well. So that's how I've ended up with him. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing this adorable little chap. He is so much smaller than any of the other hedgehogs that we've released. Most of them have been adults that have then come into the rescue, or they've been sort of given to us because they're at an appropriate weight. So this is the smallest hedgehog I've actually seen, and he is adorable. So I really hope you enjoyed seeing him, and I will speak to you guys soon. Bye!